Hello, my name is Katie Groves, and I am a survivor of child sexual abuse at the hands of both of my parents. And in this video, I'm not going to go into too much detail about the abuse. I've spoken in more depth about my abuse in a 4-part series called Trafficked and Programmed, My Story, which I will link in the description below. But in this video, I'm going to talk specifically about issues that I have faced around having been sexually abused by both parents, the stigma, finding mental health resources or not finding mental health resources more accurately, and how I cope on a day-to-day basis. I'm making this for survivors of this abuse and for anyone who wishes to help them or may encounter someone one day who has experienced this and have an opportunity to help them. First, I want to say that so many people have closed the door on opportunities to help me as a survivor of this when I've reached out. Because it was too much for them, and they would rather shut me down and shut the whole thing down than look at what they did not want to see. And while that is understandable, we all naturally shield ourselves from things we don't want to see, things we cannot face. But sadly, so many mental health professionals have closed the door on helping me. It's left me feeling pretty jaded. And I want to increase the resource list for people who suffered this and hope one day to create a website specifically for survivors of double parent incest who can talk about their experiences on a confidential forum, as well as read articles and maybe have a journal. Do something like what survivorship has done for ritual abuse and mind control survivors, specifically for double parent incest survivors. Right now, to my knowledge, no such thing exists, and this is but a beginning making this video for me. So what do I want to say? I don't really know what I want to say. I don't even know what there is to say. It's just so much disbelief. It's scary to talk about this so publicly. People have a hard time believing children when they speak out about child sexual abuse from a male perpetrator, let alone a female perpetrator, let alone their own mother, let alone both their parents. And in my case, organized child abuse, child trafficking, mind control programming, ritual abuse was all a part of it, and so there's even more stigma and disbelief for me. But in addition to all the disbelief, stigma, what issues do I face on a day-to-day basis? Well, of course, I struggle deeply with recovering my memories. I now trust my memories much more than I used to. I received photographic evidence of some of the things I endured, some of the more extreme things I endured, early in my healing, from my mother, of all people, to intimidate me into silence. And that gave me incontrovertible proof of what I went through. Without that, I think I would still be struggling deeply to trust my own memories. But I am now having a much easier time with it than I ever have, and yet still it is such a struggle recovering the memories, feeling the pain. I'm more or less always in a state of emotional flashback, body memories coming forward. I feel so sore in my muscles, exhausted. I get headaches, and I get a lot of nausea and stomach pain. All of this stuff has gotten easier, and some of it is definitely exacerbated by, while simultaneously made easier by the fact that I have dissociative identity disorder, polyfragmented, as a result of the abuse, which was both a miracle at the time and now a challenge. But I'm so grateful that I have to heal in parts rather than healing in full. Where I just have complex PTSD without DID, I don't know how I would have survived. I don't know how I would be coping now. Dissociation has been a wonderful friend to me. And while I'm working to put it down and use better coping tools, mindful coping tools, I'm grateful for the compartmentalization that still keeps me somewhat grounded insane in something other than the abuse. I do a lot of integration work to cope with the DID, to heal it. I do a lot to improve intercommunication inside. But I'm still tortured by the fact that my parents sexually abused me as a child, and there's this gaping hole, this void in my life where loving parents should be. I'm only 21 years old. My brain is not finished forming like it will around the age of 25. Not that we ever stop developing, but I'm still technically a child, even if I'm legally an adult. And I still need my parents I never had. It is hard knowing the wake of distraction in which I live all the time and what caused it. Every little task is challenging. The grief is great. The depression is great. I deal with a lot of dysfunction in my life. I can thankfully say today that I am free from substance abuse. I am free from self-injury, with the exception of young dissociative parts that sometimes come out as a result of mind control programming and punch me when I get too close to recovering a memory they're supposed to keep me from remembering. But I do not consciously cut myself, burn myself, do anything like that anymore. I also do not seek out abusive people. I'm very reclusive. I would like to be more social, but the social anxiety I face from my abuse history is tremendous. And I find that most people don't understand. Most people don't understand my abuse history. They don't understand where I come from. I'm so estranged from mainstream culture as a result of escaping MKUltra and deprogramming myself around that I found very little common ground with others from which I can communicate in any kind of conventional way.